So what kind of some of the soft skills which helped you along this journey? Because obviously you have been a technologist, but there has to be
Yeah.
some soft skills which a person needs to develop to come to that kind of a level where you are.
Yeah, it's all about customer service, right? Like, and this is the funny part. I know I'm cheating. Like you and I talked before the podcast,
Yeah.
and we were talking about like, I was kind of complaining about my time in consulting. Like, oh my god, I didn't know where my mail went, and like I was just 300 nights a year at a hotel, like all this stuff. But it taught me customer service skills. Like even working at like a restaurant, like even being like a wall up or something. Like you're getting those customer service skills. It's hard to say like engineers are about customer service because we can be very overly logical and overly like, how dare you?
And a bit egoistic at times because of our
Sure.
because of our knowledge, I feel.
Yeah, spot on. Yeah. And it's just like it taught me a lot about like being patient or not, just customer service. Like, hey, how would you like to be treated if someone asked you something? Right. Like it's like, oh, someone's having a problem with your software. Oh, it must be the user's fault. The hell with them. Like stupid user. Don't put those you would like to be spoken to like that. Like, hey, what happened? Tell us. We and also it's just this is that like, hey, from a customer service perspective, like how do we prevent that from happening from the user again? How do we make their experience better? Because like when you're focused like that was it. It really shaped a lot of the decisions. Like how can just I become more customer focused and or client focused. And as ironic, if you work for a consulting firm, they'll tell you that every day. You're a client service, client number one. But you're like rolling your eyes like, what is this? Why you put me in this room, for a year, right? Why? But it's an interesting way to think about it, right? And then, how do you help other people solve their problems? And that kind of just evolved. I was always curious about like other folks' problems and how to solve that. And yeah, that's kind of like, I left product engineering, went to consulting. I was a little bit aggressive in changing jobs. I wanted more money. I found out that I could get paid a lot more by changing jobs. So like I was at IBM, then I worked for Accenture, then I worked for Deloitte. So I worked for all like the big GIs here. I got promoted every time because I had a skill set that they needed like G2E people at the time, right? So like, oh yeah, right, really too much. And then kind of after that was like, how do I mix the customer service skills with some technical skill? And that's when the architecture stuff came in. And then kind of I wanted to be, I always wanted to be like a chief architect or a chief something. It sounded cool, like who doesn't, right? Well, okay, some people don't want to do that, but like, when I was 15, 16 years ago, it's like something I wanted to do. And it's a long path. Another challenge, my biggest challenge that I had, so I principal engineered out, right? Like I made principal, within 12 years, right? Like I was pretty happy with that. So like, but then like what's after principal is chief, right? And so like,
In which company?
so I was working at Mesosphere, so I was like a principal sales engineer there, and then I was like, okay, like I want to be a chief, like or chief something, chief architect. And the only thing that was like holding me back, like, was like my brand. Like no one really knew who I was out of the company, right? Like if you Google Ravi Lakshman, like in 2017, I like chicken. I like fried chicken specifically. So like I would post on like all these like fried chicken sites, like my recipes and like pictures of the chicken I would make, and I would use my real name, which is a problem because all I could see is like, oh, like chicken. That's all he's known for is chicken. The chicken guy. Yeah, I was like, yep. If I fail in technology, I'll open up a chicken shop and just sell chicken, fried chicken every day. So like, and that was it. Like one of my mentors, like, hey man, like, part of getting chief is like you have to have like community focused stuff. And I was like, well, as a principal engineer, like I'm stuck here. Like I can't, I'm not making external contributions or talking at conferences. Like I have delivery responsibility to do because I own these modules or whatnot, right? And I kind of like pivoted into like, what? I was pretty good at it. Like I would get really funny talks like once or twice, like the people come see and they're like, oh, you're really good at that. Why don't you just do that full time? And I was like, okay, I got to build my brand. That was it. No one knew who Ravi Lakshman was before, in the company before 2017. I got an evangelism or advocacy job. Say the end goal is hit chief because I'm going to build my brand. Now, if you Google Ravi Lakshman, like you'll be hard to find the chicken stuff. Like it's like page 12. or 13 on Google. Like you just
So,
gotta.
so I think if I can get the crux out of it, I think it's first of all understanding the customer problems and pain points and trying to solve those customer problems, and then building your own brand, your own identity. It could be online, it could be offline, but there has to be something outside what you do on a day-to-day basis. So I think these two things which I could take out of that.
Yeah.
Any other advice which you would like to share?
No, that's it. Just customer service and identity, and you're on your way to chief. That easier said than done, right? Like it's just because as engineers, it's unfortunate that our accomplishments don't really follow us around, which is odd. Or in consulting, they'll tell you that too. Like, if you're doing bad, just roll off and get somewhere else in a couple of months, right? Like no harm, no foul. If you do it too many times, then you're like,
I
yeah,
think
find another shop.
I think what I'm realizing over the past few years is business domain understanding also matters. So although you are a technologist, you know a lot of stuff, but if you really want to get into a CXO level, I think you cannot, or ideally, unless you are in Google or Facebook, which is a completely technology firm, or a product like Shipa. But if you want to become a chief of something, you need to know the business, you need to know the domain, and it is not a certification on Udemy which you could do. You cannot learn how to manufacture a car in 2 hours, right? Or for example, how a retail business runs, what are their pain
Yep.
points. So all these things can only happen when you are on the field, you're talking to the customers and the client and understanding and then coming up with solutions. So I think that is something which could also be a good thing to focus on, maybe as
Yeah.
a side strength, or maybe a hustle to learn.
Yeah, domain. They always say domain experience is like invaluable. Like, I was fairly fortunate that a lot of it came from my consulting days. Like, I was able to like work at a year at an aircraft manufacturer. Like, airplanes are complicated. They're not easy. They kind of put together, like a car, right? Or I spent like a couple years in the banking sector, or I spent also a couple years like in the federal sector here, and just some connective tissue. Like, everyone has the same set of problems, like time to market, revenue. The government doesn't have that. Like, the government wouldn't have competition. They want to service the people. But any like private entity, be like time to market, time to value, how do they become more efficient, how do they differentiate themselves in the market. And like, but yeah, like nitty gritty, like, oh, how does like buy like securities clear in a clearinghouse, like that's also important. But there's a reason why they want to improve that, is because they want to beat other people to the market, right? And so domain experience is invaluable. Like, even if you're working in some ridiculous place, you're still learning. It's a combination of domain experience and technology, is what you strive for with both as an engineer.